Hey guys, JustGeorgeMedia.com with the Notebook Cookbooks. Just George and Nicole in the kitchen. We're doing homemade pasta dough. It's about 2.5 cups of flour, 5 full eggs. We're going for a little fluffier dough today. The simple fact that we want to make like tortellini, ravioli for the kids. Alright, so 2.5 cups of sifted flour, 2 little pinches of salt, right on your bench. Make a nice well. All you need is your fingers. Your 5 eggs will be going in. Alright, so as we've kneaded this dough, you're going to hold one edge, and then you're going to push out, and then roll back upon itself and push out. And you're going to have about 1/2 cup of bench flour to work in. Don't forget to flip, don't forget to rotate. As you're done, you're going to pick it up just like you would in other doughs. Cup, form into a nice dough ball. It's about 20 to 30 minutes rest time. This is going to help keep it from forming a crust. We'll go into the fridge after this. We're going to let it rest for about 24 hours. It's a little fluffier, softer dough, and that's because we're looking for tortellini and ravioli. Alright, here's our dough ball. The trick to kneading that dough ball is as it comes together, basically just use your fingers and bring all that flour in. Then you're going to push out, and you roll back upon itself, and then push back out, and then roll back upon itself. Rotate. Continue. Another 1/2 cup of bench flour. Make sure you work it in until you get that silky smooth, kind of almost a leather, but still nice and fluffy. And then just like you would with other doughs, just kind of cup it into a nice ball. Make sure you saran wrap it so it doesn't develop a crust. 30 minutes rest time here, right into the refrigerator. We're going to let that rest overnight before we get into our nice fluffy dough for homemade pasta. Here's our homemade dough ball. It's been resting for 24 hours in the fridge. It's time to make homemade ravioli cut into 4 pieces. Making a little larger batch than normal of this to make homemade ravioli and tortellini. Salt, garlic, pepper going in. It's about 20 ounces of ricotta whole milk, 3 egg yolks, no egg whites, a little bit of Parmesan. The egg yolks because it needs to stand up to the heat and not scramble. Right, the homemade pasta dough is ready. Water on one edge, filling piped right into about 2 fingers space. Seal between each piece of filling. Trick here is to get all the air out. We don't want any air as it goes into the heat. That air will burst our raviolini, and we don't want that. Be thorough, be gentle, just love it into life. Pasta cutter. Homemade raviolini.
Do this.
With a little bit of butter, our homemade ravioli in. Go ahead with the slightest of beef broth. On top of those, right before we did that, we dotted it with the garlic butter. The garlic butter is salt, garlic, white pepper, which is typically our secret ingredient, but out of experimentation, I elevated it with a little bit of basil. just a touch of oregano. Literally 1 minute at most, with just a little bit of oil, our sauce goes right on. Again, this is a little richer sauce. Check out our blog and stuff for the basic marinara, but we're going to add just a little bit more flavoring, a little bit more seasoning, and then we're going to put those raviolis down for about a minute to get those a little bit sear right into that sauce to finish them off. It's going to be beautiful, silky, filled, cheesy, melted, creamy ravioli. That is the homemade ravioli. This is a Just George first. I've never done this before. I'm totally looking forward to it. Look at that beautiful homemade, let me zoom in just a smidge. That right there is homemade garlic bread. And again, I added a little bit of basil oregano. It really pops with that herb. That flavor comes out. The sauce is a little richer. Homemade filled ravioli. JustGeorgeMedia.com notebook cookbook. Thanks for cooking along with us, guys. Any questions, click Ask George. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is a never-ending homemade pasta adventure. And there's nothing better.